It was the red and black socks. It was the red and black socks that brought me back with the white shorts and the blue top, and we just played in all blue. We just played. What did you do? What did you hang about? If you were hanging about, if you were at the game, you were hanging about to audibly and visually criticise the manager and the players. You paid your money. You made the commitment on Boxing Day to go there. You're perfectly entitled to that, and I think they need it. They need it as well. I don't know if you can be a little bit shell shocked, a wee bit stunned. It certainly wasn't a surprise to lose the game. It's always a possibility when a team is rebuilding, when it's not really any great form, consistent form as we have this season, or haven't, as the case may be. But I sat on the couch. I was watching the telly. I was watching it in Premier Sports, and I just sat there. I just sat there a bit longer than I usually would, and there was a real danger I wasn't going to get 3, 2, 1. You're back in the room. It wasn't going to happen because I was so kind of. It's because Christmas the previous day, you have just 3 main courses and 5 desserts, and then the beers and the whiskey, and on top of that with the crisps in front of the telly. You're not exactly at your sharpest anyway. And then Boxing Day during the day, I'm hitting the cold cuts and all that. I'm hitting the fridge big time, as well as the oven. I think at half time in the game, I went through the kitchen and got myself the remains of the roulades, Creole Mama. Where's my roulade? I get into that with a bit of the old squishy cream as well, cup of tea and that, just to try and revive myself, as we revived ourselves for that second half. But it wasn't enough, not by a long shot. I just sat there afterwards. I didn't notice the coverage had actually finished. No, as I was looking at the screen, but just physically, my brain wasn't taking in what my eyes were seeing, and it was just, I just suddenly noticed we don't play Girona. We're no in the Champions League this season. Girona in the Champions League. Why are we playing Girona in Girona during the day as well? Was it a friendly? Did we play them? And it's Athletic Bilbao. It was a feature. The coverage from Paisley had ended, and it got into a feature about Simone, the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper. Athletic Bilbao Athletic Club, San Mames, La Catedral. I don't know if the new stadium is also known as La Catedral. I'd imagine it would, but the new San Mames is where this season's Europa League final is being played at a competition that we are still in. I've never seen Athletic Bilbao. I've been in San Mames. I've been in the original San Mames. I've been in the old. I was in the La Catedral. I did the tour. It was an amazing city, amazing week's holiday, amazing vibe, amazing atmosphere in that place. It was resonant. This is one of only 2 or 3 stadiums I've been in when they're empty. You can still feel it. You can still feel what it's all about. The football to these people, and I would love. We have played Athletic Bilbao in Europe, I think the first cup back in the day, and I want us to play them again. I would love to have Athletic Bilbao at Ibrox, especially this season. But it's a competition that both clubs are in. Both clubs are going to progress in, and that's what kept me. I just sort of looked up, and it's the away strip. It's the Athletic Bilbao, because they're playing Girona. Girona have got the white, the blue shorts, so they kind of do the usual all blue. Athletic Bilbao's first ever European final, hosts of this season's Europa League final, but their first ever European final, same competition, was called the UEFA Cup, and it was home and away. In 1977, they played Juventus, and they played in the stadio, the Torino Stadium, the Olympic Stadium in Turin it's called, but it was the Comunale then. It was shared by both Juventus and Torino. Athletic Bilbao are there, and they're in their all blue away kit, and then Juventus came to San Mames, the original San Mames, and they wore all blue as well. Not Juventus wearing all blue against Leeds at Ellen Road in the 1971 First Cup final, the second leg. The all blue that they wore in the 96 and 97 Champions League final. Did they wear the black and white stripes against Real Madrid in 98? I think they might have. But this was the all blue, and then Athletic Bilbao are wearing all blue as well. And their first appearance at European final, a club famous for its red and white stripes, but also for the red and black socks, the black shorts. That's what they wore, and we just wore all blue. We just wore all blue at Paisley, and there I was looking at Athletic Bilbao with a blue shirt, white shorts, and the red and black socks, and it just kind of perked me up enough to come and do the old post-match reaction pods. How you doing, folks? This is your Fatek Rangers are trying to extend their 22 years and 3 days unbeaten record at Fir Park in the league. It's Boxing Day 2002. James McFadden getting the only goal of the game since Rangers last lost at Fir Park in the league. Although I think we want to, extend it to 4 days, 5 days, so on. But we also want to make sure we win as well. Keeping it La Liga. St Mirren, clubs that maybe if you're an old firm, a fan of one of the old firm sides, you don't have a lot of respect maybe for the provincials, for the other clubs. It's something like Kilmarnock. I know Kilmarnock have won a lot. They've won all 3 domestic trophies, and they've done really well in Europe over the semi-finals in 66, 67 of the Old First Cup. But they've got the pies as well, haven't they? They've got the pies, famous for the great pies. You get a Kelly pie, and also when I was a kid, it was, ironically, given that it's now plastic, at Rugby Park, the surface is always playable. It's always playable. All the games in Scotland are cancelled, and I watched Gregor Stevens jumping over the ball and breaking the guy's leg at the start of the second half in a friendly that had been arranged because all the other games were cancelled in Scotland. But it was just sawdust you had all over the park. I think it was a bit of a myth, but they always deemed it playable anyway, Rugby Park. That was the thing with it. But Motherwell and St Mirren, the last 2 teams we have played, the 2 teams that we're playing between Christmas and New Year, this little couple of away games that are giving us so much trouble so far. St Mirren, I think it was Barcelona they played in the 1920s. They went to a tournament at Les Corts, the Barcelona's ground before the new camp, and I don't think they beat Barcelona. I don't think they played Barcelona, but they certainly won the tournament anyway. They won this invitational tournament, and that's really impressive. It's one of the things that they have in their kind of websites and all that, talking about how they won this tournament at Barcelona. We know what it's like to win a tournament at Barcelona as well. And Motherwell, almost going one better. It was 1927. I think it was 1922 that St Mirren did Barcelona, and maybe 1927. I think that Motherwell went to Real Madrid, the Bernabeu, for on the Wikipedia page. It says it was a kind of invitational special edition of the Copa del Rey. It's got the Copa del Rey in inverted commas. That's fine. But they beat Real Madrid in the final. I think they beat Swansea in the semi-final, and they beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu in the final. You always hear Motherwell fans, we beat Real Madrid. This was 1927. They were champions of Scotland, Motherwell, of course, in 1932, stopping us doing 9, well, maybe 10 in a row. And the first time there, we won all the other leagues in that period. But so they went to, and Tony Watt. The bad news for us tomorrow is that Motherwell have beaten St Mirren home and away this season. Something we certainly haven't managed. They've beaten St Mirren home and away this season, and when they beat St Mirren at St Mirren at the beginning of this month, Tony Watt scored the only goal of the game deep in injury time. That's a guy who scored a winner against Barcelona, isn't he? In the Champions League for Celtic. So it's all kind of tying in with La Liga, and people, that's usually, it's kind of interesting they call it a Copa del Rey 1927 invitational. So I immediately thought, were they calling it a Copa del Rey? You look it up and you find out that's the year. I'm talking about Athletic Bilbao, the Basque country. What was the first all Basque Copa del Rey final, or Copa del Generalissimo, or whatever? Copa del Rey final. You're like, it's got to be Real Sociedad against Athletic Bilbao. Wrong. It's got to be Alaves against Osasuna. Something wrong. It's in Phil Ball's Morbo. I'm no, I did read it in a book. That's what I read it in a book. But is it Real Union against Arenas de Getxo. I was outside Arena. I was in Getxo, whatever the place is, just outside Bilbao, and it was such a wee stadium. I thought it was just like a kind of five-a-side play. You go and play fives like pits or something like that, And there's a wee restaurant there as well, but I didn't realise that was actually Arenas de Getxo's, the first Basque sides to play each other, to play an all Basque Copa del Rey final, Spanish Cup final, whatever we're calling it, and it was these two teams, the most well known ones. So that was 1927, the same year that Motherwell went and beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. Celtic, of course, also doing that in Jimmy Johnson's testimony. No, it wasn't. Jimmy Johnson dominated the game, but it was in the Bernabeu. It was Alfredo Di Stefano's testimonial. So just to be thinking there, Rangers have also won a tournament in Barcelona. So it's difficult. It's difficult to find stuff that brings home just how great both Motherwell and St Mirren are. In the eyes of it would make it acceptable for us not to win this game tomorrow. Preview pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Check out Gersnet. Last night, Friday night, it was John and Ross, and this is the problem. I don't know. I've achieved that kind of festive periods then when I don't know what day of the week it is, so I completely forgot it was on. If I go to retweet it, I only really keep Twitter just now. I'm a blue sky woke type now. I only really keep Twitter to retweet and publicise the Jersnet pods. I completely forgot to do that. I didn't do it until this morning. I've even had a chance to watch the pod, but it's John and Ross. They're always good value. So get on there and they'll give you a proper analysis of what went wrong on Boxing Day night against St Mirren and what you think is going to happen at Fir Park tomorrow. Something better than what I'm presenting to you so far. I'm sponsored by that, and I'm also sponsored by books. Books. The things behind me there. You get the little paper bits in between them. You get them in libraries as well as computers, books, and it was brought to me by the subject of books was brought to me by some of the people I got getting in touch. Really nice the other night. Obviously a pretty hard post-match reaction pod after us losing to St Mirren, but yeah, I got a whole lot of new visitors that were obviously feeling really sorry for me. Nobody supporting St Mirren actually, and I'm always welcome, always really welcome. New visitors to the podcast, and there was so many the other night just telling me that put me right about the Union Jack and all that. It's actually a butcher's apron, the Union Jack. I'd get a lot of that flashing up my phone the next day. It's a butcher's apron. It's just a butcher's apron. That's good to know. Didn't realise this. And some of them, for example, just you must have been 4 the last time the Zombies won anything. That's looking pretty young there. I think I'm looking pretty young. That was Ratatata 24 ID. Okay. Dave Dugan. It's Dugan Doogan 6650. Dave Dugan 6650. All the head rubbing the Rangers have made you do has made you baldy, mate. Is he spelled badly? Made you badly? Is he misspelled? But baldy. Somebody would have told me. See the light behind me there. That's Colin Armstrong and Jersnet used to do the Jersnet pods view outside Ironbox, sometimes before, sometimes after the game, and we had this kind of tripod thing that Colin had, very professional. Unlike my partner during those pods, but he had to come straight for his work one day, so he didn't have the tripod with him. So I was like, never mind. I nipped into, I don't know, Semichem or something like that, and I got one of these things, the all-in-one podcasting kit, where you get your wee tripod and you get the little stand thing, and you put it in, that light goes round it. The light fits round your phone, and it shines in your face, so you look proper studio production values. We never really used that, the wee light thing. I forgot. I don't know how to attach it anyway, but I put it up the other night. Just used it because you don't want it in my face. I mean, you've suffered enough this Christmas period. It was to shine on the tinsel, because the other night I was doing the St Mirren post-match reaction pod, and maybe it's psychosomatic, but the Tinseltown is in the rain. I was noticing it wasn't very sparkly, the tinsel. It's got to have more sparkle, so I thought I'd shine a light directly on it, and it's really just lighting up that one bit of tinsel that's right next to it, the fancy studio light thing there. It's when I do my nail, how to paint your nails podcast, it's really handy for that, but it's not much good for light. But it is getting a bit of a sheen over my head here, which might make me look bald to folk. It might give the impression that maybe my lighting's wrong in here, and there's something bouncing off a wee bit of my head that makes it look as if I'm actually bald. But Rita Rusk, the guy in Rita Rusk, every month I go there. 89.90 for the haircut there. Of course, I'll slip him a tenner for his one, and a fiver to the lassie for washing my hair, and they maintain that it's just a high hairline I've got. It's a high hairline. Apparently it's a sign. I'm just quoting what they're telling. It's a sign of a kind of nobility, a big brain as well. It's pushing your forehead out so the hair gets forced backwards. But that is my fringe up there. It just gets kind of combed back, slick back a bit, and it's a sign that I'm actually pretty clever. So £100 well spent every month on my head. So I just feel like you would have told me if I was bald. You would have told me if I was baldy. Somebody around me. So I don't know what the fellas talking about there. We also got Mr. Monty the Mouse. Just talked pish for ages. Just talk. I don't know why he's telling me that. Did he just talk pish? Because I'd done a podcast. It was an hour and 20 minutes long the other night, so I didn't have time to listen to the fella if he was talking. Maybe he was doing it on another pod or whatever like that. But what happened there was, he's a new guy, a visitor, just coming along for the first time to the podcast. The people, the regulars, you know who you are. The regular team on this the Fat Egg podcast here, they tore him to pieces. They just, it's horrible to watch. Now, I can't control them. I mean, they're a law unto themselves. I wouldn't dare try and get involved telling what to, but they ripped them to pieces. So occasionally you'll come on and you'll make a wee comment. And I like to get back to if new, first time visitors and that, and have a wee bit of badinage if it's going that way. Sometimes I'll have to remove your comments. It's not because I can't take it. It's not because I'm crying and all that and saying shut up, you smell. Bread and noodles. I hope I hope your teeth rot or something. I'm not like that. I'm a total man. I'm total solid. I can totally take it. It's just because I can't. The bells will rip you to pieces. The regular punters on here. Don't mess, man. They don't. So I'll take you down for your own safety. I'll remove the comment for your own safety. But the one that really got to me was the one that made me think about books was a Gallagate, and a Gallagate is Galla gate, all one word. I'm thinking that might be colloquialism, that might be the argot for the Gallowgate to the east of the city. And also his avatar is a scary looking dog, the kind that people insist on making YouTube videos of. These kind of dogs beside their babies, their newborn human babies, to say, oh, they're protective. And they're like, just don't leave them alone. But just to take the edge off the scariness of the dog that's in his avatar, the dog is drinking a bottle of Buckfast. It's drinking a bottle of Buckfast. It's a half bottle of Buckfast, and it's not just chewing at the label, but it's got it in between its paws. It looks like it's a dangerous dog drinking a bottle of Bucky. So Gallagate, that's his vibe. That's his kind of aesthetic. That's how he's presentation of self in everyday life. He's commenting, this is the type of guy you don't want to end up talking to in a pub. One of the Mr. Know-It-All people that can't shut up. Know-It-All just hyphenated right the way through. Spurting out futile garbage he picked up in books over the years, desperate to get it all out at once. This is the type of guy you don't want to end up talking to in a pub. One of the Mr. Know-It-All people that can't shut up, spurting out futile garbage he picked up in books over the years, desperate to get it all out at once. That just seems like my bio. I know you do that thing when you claim, you reclaim it, somebody insults you, and you go, I'm actually going to put that criticism in my bio, so it shows that I'm not bothered by it. But it just, beyond that, that just seems all factual. I don't really know what I'm expecting a criticism, I'm expecting a slagging about the football or something, but it's just this description of me, really, and what I do. And I don't really get what the point. The bit that got to me, though, was there's spurting out. I kept thinking it says spouting out, but it says spurting. It doesn't say spurting out futile garbage. And I don't have kids. I didn't want to have kids and all that. And of course, I've never had sex with anybody, so I never get the chance to find out if I'm sterile or if I'm Baron von Richthofen. But it's maybe he's referring to that. Maybe he knows I'm not getting any kids and he thinks I'm spurting out futile garbage. That's quite 55 years old. Really mature attitude to that one from Alec. I was finding that quite the image of me spotting out futile garbage. But it's he picked up in books over the years, desperate to get it all out at once. Desperate to get it all out. I mean, it's a podcast, there's limited time, even though I managed to stretch that, make that a bit tenuous, the idea of being limited time. But guy you don't want to talk to in a pub. I think what's happened here is he's gone in. And I'm doing my wee bit at the beginning, because I know we're going to get a lot of tourists, a lot of visitors and all that, and I try to be deliberately boring. I'm not deliberately trying to be boring here. I'm finding what I'm saying just now so far on this pod really interesting. So this is me. This is as interesting as I get. But when I know there's going to be a lot of people that might want to have cruel things to say, ambulance chasing and so forth, I will deliberately make the first 50 minutes or so really boring. Really kind of, I'll just be myself. But I actually set it up the other night by saying I'm a pub bore. The very first thing that I said really was I was setting up a scenario where I am. Maybe I just went to the actor's studio for too long. Maybe my method acting is too good. I'm saying I'm the type of guy. I would say I'm a pub bore. I'm waiting for people to say something about a fact out loud that I can then go over and jump in there and use that my useless knowledge to get in, to wedge my way into their conversation and maybe get a pal out of it. Why Henry thinks that what's it? But I was just basically trying to set up the whole thing. Jack Butland made an arse of things the other night. So did everybody, but he made an arse of things the other night, and I had this thing in my mind about he's played for Great Britain during the Olympics. I've had it in my mind for a while. Also England #1 that's super staunch on his Union Jack. His nickname should be Union Jack, and I don't want it to be. I'm the only person that's ever said it. I've never heard any other Rangers fan saying Union Jack Butland, but It's Super Jack Butland that goes, not Union Jack Butland that goes. But I had this thing because the other night he was flapping, you know what I mean, and he was all at sea. And I was making a joke at the fact that people, that one of the pub war things you get is it's actually only Union Jack if it's flowing at sea. So people were getting in touch in the comment section on it saying, no, the Flags Society in 2010 passed a ruling that it's actually okay to call it a Union Jack even if it's on land. That's nice, thanks. You know, I was interested, and I'm just saying I'm a pub boat. But this guy's coming, and I think he hasn't persisted to the end where it gets really interesting. You know, a lot of folk also saying you can try to, you know, you do 50 minutes of interesting stuff, and then the greeting. I love the greeting at the end, you know, just to let me know that I'm not getting away with it. You know, they're still getting to the point where they can see me talking about Rangers losing a game and how upset I am, and they're enjoying that. Are you raging, mate? All that kind of stuff. But this guy and he put in this thing about spouting out futile garbage picked up in books over the years. Oh, that's where you're wrong, Gallagher, because I picked up on Wikipedia, other podcasts, and maybe the first 5-10 minutes of a documentary on BBC4 that I then accidentally turn over to Loose Women on the remote control, what's happening there, and just watch the rest of Loose Women, which is what I really want to watch. But I haven't read a book since, I think, when did I get my degree? Was it 1998? So I haven't read a book this century. It's just been the phone, really. Just really been on the phone the whole time for the whole of the 21st century. So I don't read, so ha ha ha. Jokes on you. Sometimes philosophy podcasts as well, deep subject matter. But I just hear about the philosopher, how they live their life, you know, and where they get the money for, and how much they drank and stuff like that. And then the minute they actually get into the philosophy that they wrote, I'm like, what the and off it goes. And I'll go and listen to Off the Ball with Tam and Stuart, something like that. But so it's not actually books, but it's a bit kind of. He's got me rang there, you know. It's really got to me. And today, I mean, before I do anything else, I have to say to you, just do not anybody let me forget to put the bin out tonight. That grey bin's got to go out tonight when I finish this. But you know, I'm going to come off here. I'm going to go straight into the kitchen. I'm going to go into that fridge. I'm going to get the cannelloni. That I got a cannelloni. You know, it's weird the things you buy on the Monday before Christmas because you think that the weird days in between Christmas Day, Boxing Day, that sort of sorted. Oh, what's that and Hogmanay? Usually I'd get a rotisserie chicken for a Saturday. You know, but it's that whole. I've really had a turkey and that all week anyway, so I don't really need any more birds. So a cannelloni is absolutely fine. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get myself a Franciscana, and I'll just be sitting there and I'll forget because if it's that zen, you've achieved festive period zen because you're having the turkey, 3 courses of turkey with the tatties and the pigs in the blanket and the roasters and stuff like that, and then you're kind of tripping on that, and then you're having the roulades and the profiteroles and the ice cream and all that, and then you're having the beer and I'm getting that stage where I'm differentiating between beer and drink. That's bad. When that starts happening, you know, it's like I'm going to have a few beers, but I'll have some drink. And what? What you planning? A lighter fluid or something like that? It's getting quite. You're indulging too much. But I like to have. You're sitting on the sofa all the time. You don't watch the news. So if the Third World War has started, I don't know anything about it, sorry. I'm usually addicted to the news, but this time of year I want to avoid it because I'm lucky enough to be off right the way through. And those folk, if you're lucky enough to be off from before Christmas right through to the early part of the new year, enjoy it because there's folk. It used to be me. I would only get 2 days off at Christmas and New Year, and some jobs, I worked in the bookies. I was working in Boxing Day, and it was mental as well. It wasn't like you just brought yourself back in easy. So that was it. So, and there's folk who just have to work Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day, because they're doing important stuff. Basically they'll be sorting me out, trying to save me from a heart attack or the broken ankle or something I'm going to incur because of my indulgence all year, really, but really it peaks at Christmas. So, you know, all respect to them, thanks to them, what they're doing. We owe it to them to enjoy it for them right the way through. And the best thing you can do is forget what day of the week it is. That's what you can do, is forget what day of the week it is. And I get all the grub and all that, and I sit on the sofa and don't watch the news. But World War II, World War III, I'll know about World War II. You got to get into that. There's always a Second World War film, bit of Poirot, and you watch stuff that's kind of neutral territory for the whole family. Everybody gathers and. But everybody's drinking and eating, the Waynes are playing with their new toys and stuff like that. So you get that kind of thing where you're all in the zone, you're kind of chilled out and you can watch it. You have to find some. Poirot's a favourite. Also, I quite like the BBC sitcoms, anyone between, and it was screened by the BBC between like in the mid-70s and the early 90s. Doesn't have to be The Good Life or Butterflies, but any of the folk that featured in those two kind of staples. It's a rock family tree type thing. You get all them. They're spread throughout the comedy legacy of the BBC sitcom. It makes you feel kind of safe, which is ironic considering the things that actually happened at the BBC at the time, but it makes you feel all kind of safe and fuzzy in that same stupid, sick, perverse way that, Dickensian stuff. It was great whenever he had rickets and the Waynes died at 5 years old because they were working down the mines and stuff like that. At least you knew where you stood then. At least you had a really cosy Christmas and that kind of stuff. It's really mental what makes you feel cosy and fuzzy at Christmas. But eventually, you will just you'll forget what day of the week it is, and that bin, as I was saying before, the grey bin, since it came in during the Euros, it's causing absolute havoc just through the year regular. The bins here go out on a Sunday as well because it gets so full. Just collected once a month, it's not enough. It's not enough. But then it's collected the week after Christmas. With all the stuff, all the packaging, all my dolls and all that. I've got to get all the packaging in there as well as with the tins and the milk cartons and all that. It's bulgy. It's going to be like the 3-day week or something like that in here if I don't get that out the night. And I can't put it out during the day because the Waynes in the street have all got their, they've got their wee bikes and their skates, and the roller skates and the skateboards and the go-karts and the wheel with the stick. They've all got their new toys that they go to Christmas. They're up and down the pavement. I can't shove them onto the road, the Glasgow motorway type roads. I can't shove. So if I put the bin out on the pavement during the day, they've got to go onto the road to get a lot. And they already hate me. They're already egging my house and stuff like that. So I don't want to make them be pure Grinch or Scrooge or anything like that. I've got to give them. So I've got to wait till they're in. But then by the time they're in, it's time I get the podcast put up. It's going to take me ages to get this uploaded the night. You're probably going to see it until Sunday morning, even though the game doesn't kick after 3 o'clock. But I've got a lot today. But if I forget to put that bin, it doesn't get collected tomorrow. There's going to be bins in the hall, and there's going to be plastic bags. There's going to be rats everywhere. I don't like rats. So don't let me put that. But my name's Alec Anderson. Merry Christmas. I wrapped it up and sent it. That message saying I trusted you with our rebuild, but as of Boxing Day night, I can tell you I never meant it, 'cause now I know what a fool I've been to trust my football club to a baldy Belgian. But I don't know. Well, maybe, why not? Why not trust it to a baldy? But that's what we're ordained, is it? Whether it's David Suchy or Peter Ustinov, we're all trusting more entertainment. We're trusting ourselves. The whole of Rule Britannia, the whole of Britain is right now is investing in a Belgian, aren't they? They're watching a wee kind of chubby francophone Belgian detective to solve some of the big mystery. It's what to watch with the whole family. They're going to that's kind of en famille. The Rangers family, we're at the kind of stately home family murder mystery stage of where we've got the least faith in Hercule Poirot to solve this case. It's always got to get to that point, 3/4 of the way through, where it's just the narrative arcs and all that. It's got to be. Oh no, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Get the stupid policeman, the local person, to solve what's going on here. But the low point has been reached, and I think he always gets through it, doesn't he? Hercule always gets it. He always solves the case. He always gets his man or woman. So I think we should persist with the Belgian. I'm sorry, that's going to be the general theme here. But I was thinking about that guy Gallagher telling me that you basically shouldn't read books if you're a boat. Where else do you get your facts? If you don't read them, you don't wake up knowing stuff. You got to kind of research it. It's also what happened the other night, Boxing Day night. The one book I do read is actually, ironically, coincidentally, at this time of year, and it's been the same book. And it's a collection of some of the short stories, ghost stories by M.R. James. He's also become a Christmas institution. Mark Gatiss, that's a wee documentary book that the BBC always put out around about this time of year. M.R. James, he was an intellectual. He's a solid intellectual. The guy, he lived his life in books, the Tractate Midith and all that. They are the subjects of a lot of his actual ghost stories, and it's all about guys too much up in their head, bores basically, think they've got it all sorted, think they've got it all worked out, they've got the facts, they've learned all the facts, they've calculated everything, they've got everything totally sorted, but they need to live, need to think in a different way. That's what they're lacking. Whistle I'll come to you, my lad, whistle I'll come to you, my laddie. Jonathan thing, we did the fantastic kind of late 60s dramatisation of that. It's on the telly at this time of year. Sometimes wasn't on there, but it's really scary. I read that one's proper terrifying. It's proper, and I'll tell you a story of something that happened to me when I was in Ambleside. The first time I went to Ambleside, stayed there. I ended up in the bedroom. I was snoring because I'd had a few beers and all that. And the wife's like, I can't fucking, you're snoring. All right, I'll go into there was a spare room. We'd got a place bigger than what we needed. It was 2 bedrooms and it was 2 single beds. And I just recently read Oh Whistling Will Come to You, and I'm sitting there looking at the spare bed the whole time, because once I wake up, it takes me a while to get back to it, and I'm looking at that spare bed in that room myself, just waiting for the covers to start. But you know what happens in that story, it's really scary. But the whole point is he's an old Don, he's an Oxbridge scholar, and he just thinks there's no such thing as beyond facts and hard facts and all that, and he soon learns that basically has a nervous breakdown because he doesn't know how to deal with the complexities of life and of the heart and of the. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking this is what happens in all the M.R. James stories. They're stuffy old intellectuals. Somebody that's too posh, too clever for their own good, doesn't know enough about real life, whatever that's supposed to be, and they end up having to learn the lesson, and it usually involves beasties. There's a lot of beasties involved. Things that, is that a rat? Is it a cat? Or it's a monster kind of thing. There was a dramatisation on that TV adaptation on the other night, an old one for the 70s. It's not actually very well done. The Ash Tree, reading the story is much better. It's the Lord of the Manor, basically. But the wee beasties they have in the end, I remember that as being preposterous the first time I saw that TV adaptation. But it's the other way about now. I watch it, and the rest of the build up and all that is really badly done. But the wee beasties, even though they're old 70s props and all that kind of thing, old Doctor Who stuff, it's fantastic. It's actually proper creepy. They're like half human babies, half rats. A third human babies, third rats, and third kind of like big spiders. It's horrific. So I was going to Bingham's Pond today, and I'm pondering, because I want to ponder what's happening with us against St Mirren and what's going to happen with us against Motherwell. And I got into Bingham's Pond because you've got to do that thing. You've got to walk to the end of the street and back, basically, to tell yourself that that's you. You've worked off the 3 courses of turkey that you had earlier in the day. Now you're anorexic again. You can stuff your face justifiably that night. So I went Bingham's Pond. I like Bingham's Pond. There's been a problem there with rodents, or I saw a rat there eating a pizza and I was jealous. Just after COVID, though, that was after lockdown, so that was explainable. But then a few months ago, there was, you can see it, was big mice or baby rats, or whatever, running about, and there was plenty of folk about as well. And a woman had a dog and all that, and I was just, if that dog hadn't been there was no way I was walking up that path. It's a path because if you know Bingham's Pond, it's just have Great Western Road, really busy area. It's really busy, and I'm walking past it today at like 1:15. In the afternoon, I checked my watch to see is it so late, so early that folk are still in their bed, kind of partying through Christmas and New Year. Is it so late in the day that folk are, gone back home or something? Like, no, it was only the back of one, and I'm looking down onto Bingham's Pond because you can see as you approach the Great Western Road, look down into it. There was nobody there. It was empty. It was sans humans. And there's always at least like half a dozen to 30 odd folk. There's benches everywhere. There's always folk walking around the pond. I come for a Dross and I stay in the Clyde Estuary. I need some sort of water running about me, and I can't get in the Clydes bad enough in Glasgow. But the Bingham's Pond is like kind of the stingiest methadone cup ever. But I need it to get my chi. I need it to get down there, because I just walk around the water for a wee bit to restore my centre. And I'm looking down, there's nobody there. I wonder if it is known now that there is an infestation of rodents down there, and folk are like, it's so bad. But I'm thinking, you're being M.R. James, you're that guy. Gallagher tell you that you're stuck in it, picked up in books over the years, desperate to get it all out at once because it's a podcast. That's why don't have to. It's not like a pub where you can go in there and risk it. You know what the podcast's going to be. You don't have to watch it if you don't want it. But I need to get down there and I don't want to be the M.R. James guy. And I'm walking around the path on my own, and I'm just looking all day. I'm not even looking at the water where all the lovely birds are sitting, bathing and that. You get the birds. There's a wee, I'm telling you, ducks that look like they've just dipped themselves in a recently opened 20-year-old can of paint where all the paint's actually settled and it's just the oil that's left at the top. They kind of clear up, and they look like they've been through an oil slick. One slick as an alias to the FBI. You're going to get the phone book, do it anyway. They look like they're kind of glowing underneath with this kind of yellowy, orangey kind of hue to them. It looks like they've been through a paint stain or something like that, but they've got a stain of something on them, but that's how they're actually colours. But I still haven't looked up the Mersangers or something like that. I still haven't looked up what they actually are, because I don't read enough books. I'm always on my phone instead, even though that's got Wikipedia and everything you need to know on your phone. But I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at the path because I don't want to see a rodent. I don't want to know if I've got a rat's going to run out on me or something like that. I'm actually kind of cacking myself. Wee Robin Redbreast pops in. Oh, that's an M.R. James story. It's an M.R. James story. I had my worst Boxing Day. I had a few bad Boxing Days, but the first bad Boxing Day I had, and I was reminded of this on Thursday, by events on Thursday, was I was making the jokes about the action man with I was telling you that I wanted an action man with the grip hands and and the eagle eyes for my Christmas and the scorpion tank. But the Christmas I did get that, 1998, no, 1979 it might be. It's kind of 9, 10 years old I was. And I was sitting there and it was Boxing Day, and obviously we'd had the family, going all over the place the day before, hundreds of meals and, various hussies and aunties and uncles and cousins and things like that. It was all great. But on Boxing Day, it was kind of mum and dad, basically, it's lunchtime, there's some, a World War II film on the telly, mum and dad's passed out in the chair, mother's passed out on the couch. And I've got my action man with the grip hands who's making my life absolutely brilliant. And there was something to do with batteries as well. There was something involving batteries. I kind of never remember what it was, but I was playing away, and I pulled off the action man's his grip hands come off. It come off, and he's getting no, and it just I was like, oh my god, it's over. No, life is over. This is it's destroyed for me. This is just absolutely terrible. And there was also whatever, maybe it's the same incident. Batteries fell out of one of my other toys. So I'd put the batteries back in, and then I was probably taking something out of a selection box and shoving it in my mouth, and I got to taste the battery. The battery acid, you get that battery taste in your mouth by accident. No, it's not a problem. Once you've been drinking the way somebody for a Dawson will drink once they get past 14-year-old, absolutely fine. I'll sit and have a dozen, Duracell AAAs, just instead of crisps. Sometimes instead of the old cheese and onion Golden Wonder or the McCoy's flame grilled, ridged for his pleasure 6 packs. I'll just the Duracell Triple A gets a wee buzz going. But then I was like, oh god, it's like making me spew and all that. And I wouldn't stop slaving. I had to go into the bathroom, and I was like spitting all over the place, and I couldn't get rid of this taste. I thought, life's going to taste like this forever. Plus my action man. My mother must have heard me, and she woke up and said, "What's the problem?" I'm like, the action man hands come off my action man. She's like, stick it back. And she just rammed it back on, just popped the thing back on. But I'd seen it. I'd seen the abyss. I'd seen the hand coming off the action man. I'd seen that it wasn't just a kind of self-forming, holistic being that arrived to me totally intact and would leave me totally. I'd seen that it'd been broken, and it broke my heart, and it affected me. And it's my first ever taste of existential angst. I remember even as a 10-year-old thinking to myself, I'm taking this too serious. This means too much to me. What's going on here? There's other stuff going on in my life that's making me far too dependent on these kind of. And that's, I think, a lot of the reaction to what's happened to us the other night is probably it means other stuff to us. It means other stuff. And I'm walking around that pond today, and I saw up ahead of me something there, and I can hear Gallagate with his Staffordshire Bull Terrier XL Bully Dog drinking the Buckfast, and he's saying, "Oh, Master Anderson, you taking life far too, so you think you're too much up your head, aren't you, Master Anderson?" And I said, "Well, I think it pays to study and to realise what's going on with the world. But you don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and have a lukewarm cup of milk and half a slice of stale bread with the maggots coming out it before you go out, and you do a 3-hour shift milking the cows on the estate, and if one of them kicks you in the face, you only get fined for being unconscious for half an hour when I should have been getting one." That's what gets you that's what gets you the bran flakes, you can enjoy when you get up at noon, Master Anderson. That's my hard work. I don't have time for learning. I don't have time for books. No, that's not how it goes. I'm the same kind of background as you. I'm the same working class guy as you. We've got to support each other. We don't let Rishi Sunak telling us not to read stuff, not to study, that it's a waste of time doing degrees that are about the arts and things like that. They're all doing them. The apostles are all doing them. We've got to stick together here, mate. We don't want to be anti-intellectual. That's what the Khmer Rouge did in the 1970s in Cambodia. They ended up killing people with glasses because it was going, "Oh, you think you're intellectual? Do you then, Mr. Anderson?" I thought you were just a pub bore. I thought you were just learning facts. You were. It's not like you got who irons all your shirts, the linen in your house, the chambermaids, the scullery maids. They do that for you, Mr. Anderson, don't you? While you're out going to your lectures and spouting about how much you love the working classes and all that. Oh, you love them all right, don't you? You love them if you can trap one of those scullery maids in there while they're doing your linen for you. A lot of little fatherless children running about the estate, Mr. Anderson, isn't there? Very bald for their age, very fat, and they've all got big, thick glasses. But of course, the glasses are wood, including the glass, because they can't afford to go to Vision Express like you can, Mr. Anderson. They've got homemade glasses for them little kiddies. That's how much you love the scullery maids, don't you? You got to start living real life, Mr. And I thought, I'm taking this too serious, and I seen this leaves. There was leaves. I thought it was a rat. I'm walking up there going, "What the hell is that?" ahead of me. And it was black, and it was dark, and it had the little legs coming out the back. It was two little reeds. It's like somebody had arranged this from. It was two little reeds from the reeds in the pond had attached themselves to a pile of just manky manky old sodden leaves in for age. I thought this a rat. It's going to be a chick. A rat has got a hold of a chick at one of the docks or something like that, and it's totally savaged and it's left it lying there. It's a dead rat or something. It was just a pile of leaves and all that. And it was. I needn't have worried. It wasn't an M.R. James story, but maybe I've been a little bit too much up in my head, or have I? Is it not you actually? We're here. 12 points off the top. They're saying to Philippe Clement in the press conference the other night in Paisley straight after the game. 12 points off the top of the league, and it's not even new year. 12 points off the top of the league, but hey, we're not even into 2025 yet. So plenty of time to go. We'll be halfway through the league season when we play. After we've played Celtic at Ibrox, we'll be halfway through the league season. Not expecting any favours from St Johnstone tomorrow, but I don't really expect to be winning the league this season anyway. But Philippe Clement goes in there and Philippe Clement said, his exact quote, "We don't need to start calculating in that way. We need to show the level we showed in the second half every game. We know from the start of the season we had a new project and we're building something. The reaction was there. Also, second half, so it's not that we start from zero again. He said, don't start calculating. Mentioned to me that's 12 points between us and Celtic at Tapa League. That's sums, that's calculating. And Friedrich Nietzsche, and I read this in a book once. No, I didn't. I heard it in a podcast. I've got books on Nietzsche. I don't read them. I must have read a book. Is it Rachel Chamberlain? Helen Chamberlain? It's called Nietzsche and Turin. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read in my life. I think it took me 2 years to read it. It's only about that thick as well. Just the sentences are it's unbelievable. It was fantastic, but again, it was all about his life. It wasn't, the philosophy was in there, obviously, but it was just about how he's, the syphilis and all that. But it's interesting stuff. But I heard a podcast talking about how Nietzsche wanted to specify the difference between, we love science and we need science. It's pushing, advances. Scientific advances making our life so much easier, or they should, but when they don't, it's because scientists, they're not thinking. Scientists that are developing these things, they are calculating, and there is a difference. Thinking involves proper thinking, philosophical thinking, involves feeling, involves life experience, involves seeing the orbit, how things are going to affect the way we live our life and morality, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not being anti-science here. I'm not doing that whole thing of, the genome project, we can't let cancer cure itself. Fuck that shit. Yeah, that is total Nazi shit. No, I am specifying when people like Elon Musk, he's a scientist, he's going to get to Mars, he's fantastic, he's great. He's horrific. He's absolute scum. He's just spouting racism and what have you, just for the sake of having more money. It's going to have us burning ourselves down to the ground so he can just be on top of the big pile of ashes. It's like the internet, fantastic computers, but the dark web, pornography, gambling. That seems to be the main uses of the internet, and now polarising all the countries all over the world to hard left and hard right, so that everybody will fall out, and the Elon Musks of the world can have it. So it's if you're just calculating, if you're just doing sums, basically, it's much more complex than that. But people working out space travel and computers and things like that, they're calculating all the time. They're not thinking. If you don't think enough, you end up things like the Industrial Revolution. Fantastic. We can make things easier and all that, but also the child poverty, the infant mortality that it brought about, industrialised killing in the Second World War, in the First World War, but taking to a whole new level in the Second World War. You've got to think. Don't just go along with the crowd. You've got to think things through. And I think that's what self-dramatising here. I'm just trying. So many games, so many podcasts, so much beer, so many crisps. I think Philippe Clement, we need to have a think about him. I think what he's saying is he's trying to set something out for ever. He's trying to sort out a legacy. He's trying to have Rangers set up for years to come. So eventually we start beating Celtic in every game, and we are winning league titles and retaining league titles. The idea that we're only 12 points behind Celtics now is a bit. It's just calculating. It's just we can't finish third. Well, now we're second with a game in hand, even though we lost the other night. A game in hand over Aberdeen. It's not exactly a triumph. It's not exactly what we're ambition at the beginning of the season. But it's not far off it when really at the beginning of the season, that's when the messages started coming from Clement himself, and it was honesty. It was honesty, not just making excuses for himself ahead of the fact. It was coming from John Bennett as well, that it's it's a complete rebuild is required, and we've been seeing complete rebuilds. We wanted it as well as a support. We were demanding we get rid of so many players. A lot of guys out there were calling them losers. A lot of supporters, get rid of these losers, these serial losers. Well, we have done, and we don't have the money. We're not in a position to just buy in, another 22 phenomenal winners. That's the also the Terry's chocolate orange I just finished before I come on. Maybe that's why I'm buzzing just now. But I think we need to look at the manager, the honesty of what he's been saying to us. The project's it's a project, it's a rebuild, it's about just getting the team to focus on winning the bloody game at hand. He actually wants more immediacy than even us as a support are requiring. Maybe he wants to blind us to the league table. That's not likely to happen. But I think he's saying, no, if the team can't win at St Mirren, doesn't really matter if it's 12 points or 30 points between us and Celtic. It's about doing what's required every single game. I think the confusing thing for a lot of, even for myself, do you know what I nearly said there? Do you hear me saying that? I think the confusing thing for a lot of you, even me sometimes, an intellectual like me, this Gallagher's getting to me. He's getting to me. That's me pointing to the laptop with his comment. He's getting to me. I think a lot of folk like myself are thinking it doesn't. If we stop winning these games in Europe, then it could just be crap, and that's it. We can get rid of them. But I think the fact that we are averaging 2 points a game in any league, it's 2 points a game. We are on 35 points from 17 games in the Premiership, the SPFL Premiership. That's 2 points a game plus one. And we are on 11 points from 6 games in the Europa League. That's 2 points a game minus one. We're averaging 2 points a game. As bad as it is to be 12 points behind Celtic before we even get into the new year, it's quite amazing that we are in the automatic, the last of them, admittedly, but with 2 games to go in this 8-game Europa League campaign, we are in the last of the automatic qualifying spots for the last 16 of the Europa League. Never mind making sure we get through to the last 32. I don't think we're going to end up in the top 8, so it will be last 32 for us, but it's almost guaranteed that we're going to be through there. So that, it's like, I just want to make we always want life to be simple. We always want to make judgments. It's Clement is the problem. I see a few folk have got the Clement's avatars, his face with the red line through them and all that. I don't think Philippe Clement is the problem. And it's the confusing thing is, it's the annoying thing is, it's evidenced by, I'm going to say it again, 7 epic, not just playing away in Europe, not just away games in Europe, Rangers unbeaten in the 7 away European games that Philippe Clement has had. They are hellish tough games. Sparta Prague, Real Betis, Benfica, Dynamo Kiev, albeit Dynamo Kiev they were having to host the game in Poland. We've got Malmo, the champions of Sweden, Olympiacos, a European trophy holder, and then we're just gone. Nice, we absolutely destroyed Nice when they decided to take it a bit easy against us in terms of their team selection. We took them to pieces. His record away from home in Europe, and the style, the way we play, it's something that the home draw with Spurs, a game we should probably have won. You can see right there, I don't see why the fact that Cyril Dessers couldn't put that ball in the back of the net at the end of the game is Clement's fault, when he doesn't have the money to buy anybody to replace Dessers and has had the sense to have Dessers on the park to be in that position, to having a one-on-one with the goalkeeper that he should really have put away. We all know Dessers can't finish as anywhere near as often as we want him to. We were demanding that Michael Beale signed it. Announce Dessers, announce Lammers. We forget all this stuff when it suits us, I think. So we could have won that game, and then you get the VAR decision, which the referee, the SFA head of refereeing himself came out and publicly condemned as one. It's just a terrible decision. Doesn't mean we would have won that game, but those who are claiming we are as Rangers supporters that we should destroy the SFA because of that mistake, well, you can't then turn around and tell Clement he's never beaten Celtic when you think he was going to beat them in that game with the referees getting involved. You've got to cut him a bit of slack for that. And I think what's happened here, or what's going to happen tomorrow at Fir Park, basically is we have to win this game. I think this is as important as beating Celtic. But we have to win this game tomorrow, not just draw it, but we need to win at Fir Park to show that we're not reverting to type with our domestic away form of this season. We just were doing that thing of we were going one step forward, two steps back at the beginning of the season, particularly in our away form. Now it's got to be domestic away form. Now we've got to show that it's one step back, but two steps forward. Just that wee breath, that wee stumble that you take when you're a team that's still building, still gelling. So many new signings, so many more players out the door. Guys injured and what have you. And I think Philippe Clement persisting with the 4-2-3-1 formation when he's not got the players to put in that position. As I've always said, it speaks to me of a guy who just knows that he doesn't have the players. He's talking about needing 2 or 3 transfer windows before you'll see his kind of project coming to any kind of fruition. And you can see that. But he's getting the formation down there. He's getting the style that he wants to play down there, and he will just keep persistent. And I think it's the same thing. I think he wants to beat Celtic. That's his next target, obviously. And he basically is willing to lose to St Mirren in order to do that, because he's just ticking these things off. He's ticking off these boxes on the way. He wasn't expected to win the league this season. I wasn't expected to win the league this season because we were given notice. We were told, and we could see ourselves what was happening. We're playing Motherwell tomorrow. We've beaten Motherwell twice already this season, 2-1 both times in 2 different competitions, and we've yet to play them at Ibrox or Fir Park. That's one for your pub bores to take. That's one you can form into some sort of trivia question for years to come. But it's because we're at Hampden. And the embarrassment and the financial strain that's caused the club, just throwing you out of sync, basically, at the beginning of the season. I don't think we should be throwing the baby out with the bathwater and being determined that we're going to get rid of the manager because, as Chris Boyd is saying, he's got away from the standards. This is Chris Boyd saying this in tabloids. Sorry, Boyd, but it's a lot of hysterical pish. If he doesn't get sacked, if he doesn't beat Celtic on the 2nd of January, well, the standards at Rangers are different from what they were when I was growing up, the club that I was growing up with. The club we're all growing up with. But the context is completely different from what it was when we were all growing up with Rangers. Chris, the context has completely changed. 2012, I've got to mention it every podcast, but there you go, 2012. I'm coming back for that, and we need to stop doing the whole cold, hard calculations. Oh, there's only 2 trophies, and then it became 3 trophies in so many years, and that didn't include European group stage football, and the fact that we still win more games than we lose, and we're getting towards we went from being 3rd in the league to 2nd in the league, taking these wee ugly, horrible steps that nobody wants to acknowledge because we're Rangers. And I think Philippe Clement is getting towards that. We need to show that this isn't drawn at Tynecastle, winning at Tannadice, but then losing at Parkhead, losing at Pittodrie, losing at Rugby Park. That's awful away for. We went to St Johnstone, we won 1-0. We went up to Ross County, we won 3-0 in the space of a week. Now that's not anything unusual for Rangers. That's nothing we should be boasting about. But it was putting it to bed the away for. It's changed the narrative slightly. We've gone back a bit. We're doing the same old kind of thing at St Mirren. But you could see why it was. He wants to beat Celtic, so Raskin gets rested because he's going to pick up that booking that's going to rule him out of the game at Parkhead. So the game against the men from Parkhead at Ibrox on Thursday. I think that'll have changed tomorrow. I think he's tried to win that game without Raskin against St Mirren. I think it will change tomorrow at Fir Park. I think we're going to go full team possible. Raskin will be risking Raskin. We've just got to go out and get that game won. We've got to get it won because we have to show that we're not going to go on another run of pish away domestic results. We sorted the whole thing about not scoring enough goals away from home. Well, 6-0 win over Kilmarnock to add to the 6-0 win we already had over Ross County with a completely different team almost. From the manager is rebuilding on the hoof all season. Tom Lawrence, Rabbi Matondo, not playing that game back at Hampden at the beginning of the season, and then we get a completely different team beating Kilmarnock 6-0 at Ibrox at a different home stadium. I think that just sums up how well the manager is actually doing against the situation that he's inherited willingly, and he's enjoying the challenge. And I think it would be crap of us to turn around and get rid of him when promises were made to him that were broken. The situation was a lot worse than he realised, and John Bennett came out and acknowledged this. I don't know what Patrick Stewart's idea is. I don't know what his attitude is towards the project narrative. I don't think he's got the money to do much else other than stick by Philippe Clement, who had his contract extended because he was obviously thinking about walking, I would say, during the summer. But he's loving it. He wants to, as long as it's going to be a rebuild, as long as he's going to get backed by the board and the idea that it is a rebuild, as long as he gets a board in there. These are the promises that were probably made to him, it looks like. And I think it would be pretty shit of us to turn round and then just chuck him the minutes infrastructural problems, legacy problems, give him on-field problems. But he's shown plenty in our European run, if nothing else. Some of the best European football, consistently good European football Rangers have played in my lifetime. I think it'd be pretty shit if we get rid of him in the back of that. We're 12 points behind Celtic. It's not even New Year. We're 12 points behind Celtic, but hey, it's not even New Year. I know Celtic, they're going to win the league. They're probably going to drop many points between now and the end of the season, but we have seen, as evidenced by Manchester City and Aberdeen this season, the Man City winning, 4 league titles in the trot, Aberdeen winning 4 league games in the trot, and then they're just dropping, just like off a cliff edge. They're plummeting. And they can't, it's like they can't find anything to grab onto, and they're way down. It's going to break their fall. And this is the Icarus, like they've gone too close to the sun. I read that, but they've gone too close to the sun. They haven't got the wax sorted, and away they go. And I think collapses can be sudden. As sudden as they are comprehensive, they can be spectacular. We saw it ourselves with Celtic in 2020, 2021, dominating trebles and that kind of thing. And then we went in there and we won every league game, and we horsed Celtic every time we come up against them. I think we had 1 draw, and that was at Parkhead after they'd taken the leads in the 5 Old Firm games, won the other 4, some of them at an absolute canter. Teams can suddenly fall away. I don't expect it of Celtic this season, but Philippe Clement is making sure he's stopping, and what Aberdeen did. Why can't we do what Aberdeen are doing under Jimmy Thelen? This was the stuff in August and September. It's a disgrace for us if we finish third in that. It's not, the season's not. We're not doing that plummet. We're doing little. We're losing at St Mirren. The thing is now to make sure we win at Motherwell, to show that we're not plummeting, we're not falling away. The fact that we can be in a situation where we're a point in front of Aberdeen with a game in hand, despite having lost the other night, just shows, I think, that the struts that are getting put in there, the foundations that are getting put in there to stop the really awful stuff happening, and then we'll look towards making the glorious stuff happening. Yeah, I really am waffling on here, and it's funny how sometimes you feel really deeply about something and you have trouble expressing it. It doesn't really come across that way. It's quite weird that we're sitting in the top 6. We've only beaten one of the teams in that top 6 away from home this season. We've hardly beaten anybody away from home this season. It is pretty weird. It's only Dundee United that we're beaten away from home, but yet they've taken points off us at Ibrox, and I think the only league team to have done it at Ibrox. I think it was both the game, the home win against Dundee, bit of a struggle, far from convincing, and then we go to St Mirren. So we've reverted to what we were getting at the beginning of the season, but it's the home wins or struggles. But we have won those games at home, and it has got us up the top end of the league, despite a complete rebuild. And I think we've got to be kind of worldly wise and less bookish about what we're doing just now. Steven Gerrard, I think for him, was he beat Celtic in his second Old Firm game, right? That's fine. But he was also part of Rangers really rebuild. It was taking us, we'd been back in the top flight for 3 years by that point. It was the first time in 3 seasons that we'd beaten Celtic. And Gerrard, the game before that, where we beat Celtic, we lost a late equaliser to Hibs. You can see the late equaliser to Hibs at Ibrox, dropped 2 points at home, and that was a foul mood after that. It was a terrible, this Christmas period. I hate it. It just really ruins the festivities. I was absolutely distraught after that one. A foul mood. And yet, we come back, and it was almost like that was the price you had to pay in the situation we were in, where we're rebuilding. But another 2 seasons before Gerrard actually won the league, and he goes out and we beat. What a performance it was! It was an all-out 95-minute performance against Celtic that day. Everybody giving it absolutely everything. Only won the game 1-0. Brendan's only defeating an Old Firm game, so and that hunted him basically. That was, you get a wee setback before you take. It's like you're taking a big breath. To push yourself that one extra step. We have to beat Celtic, but I hope the breath was getting taken at Paisley. I don't think if the manager can't win this game tomorrow, maybe it is time to reconsider. I think that the pressure would certainly mount on him. We're getting towards like season ticket sale for next season is becoming a consideration for the CEO. But 6 games. What is this? 11 points, 2 points per game. We're averaging 2 points per game, plus 1 or minus 1. I've written a few wee things down here because there's so much going through my head this week. I'm trying to get it under some sort of control. I think Clement's ultimate aim is greater than the standards being set by those who want rid of him. ironically or weirdly, perversely, whatever. Like we should be able to beat St Mirren. Aye, they're but we've attacked this season like it's one or the other. European competence or domestic dominance of everybody except Celtic. I think under Clement, we'll eventually get to the point where it's going to be everything. It's going to be European competence and dominating everybody domestically. But if we can't wait for that, and I think this is the Nico Raskin thing. He's become world class in the last 2 months, and he's simultaneously. I think it can be regarded two ways. It's the way everyone can go either way. I'm saying this whole thing about it's not even the new year yet. It can be looked at in two different ways. I think Nico Raskin being like an absolute world beater, kind of out of the blue and under Clement's tutelage. You look at Clement's tactics and think, yeah, that's the only reason they're working. That's the only reason this 4-2-3-1 is working, because we've got somebody playing world class football, absolutely phenomenal stuff, like being a one man midfield and defence at times. Nico Raskin. That's the only reason the 4-2-3-1 is working, because he can plug the gaps. Now, it's all proper, just, falling over the other night because a St Mirren defender had gone near him. Raskin comes in there and tidies up and sets us off in an attack again. But it looks like that's the only reason the 4-2-3-1 will work, because there's players out there that are plugging up the gaps, the massive holes, the shortfalls in Clement's tactical thinking. But can it not also be the case that when he has the players he wants, that's what it will look like? No. Raskin gets it. Raskin's able to realise the Clement vision, and once he gets those 2 or 3 transfer windows that he's always talking about, it's going to happen. Team for tomorrow, team at Fir Park. I've talked far too long, folks, sorry. I think we have to risk Raskin. I think he has to start. I think it's basically get Danilo and Igaman. We need to play with 2 strikers, but get rid of Dessers. No, we need to have as many strikers as possible. We have 2 strikers playing. I think I don't know what's happened. I've not seen any news. I've not been keeping up with the websites and what have you to find out if there's any update on Balogun's injury. I worked out he's 5 years older than Alec Miller was. I was saying he looked like Alec Miller in the 1982 Scottish Cup final, the way he went up in the air almost and then kept going. That injury hit him the other night as he was running down the wing. But Alec Miller was 5 years younger than him at the time when I saw him in the 1982 Scottish Cup final playing his last game for Rangers, and Aberdeen scored when Alec Miller pulled up his injury, whereas Balogun got up there and stopped. He got a tackle in and cleared the ball, even though it didn't help us in the end up. So, no Balogun or Suter, they're proper in Sterling. We'll just have to do. I don't think Sterling was at fault really for that. I think it was given a bad ball. Also, he should have got rid of it better for St Mirren's winner the other night. But I think I don't think we can level all the blame at him. Yeah, I would just go with stronger team. I say the goalkeeper Jack Butland. I was slagging him the other night. Or being kind of trying to be funny about it anyway, but I don't think there'll be any problems with having a new kid. I think that in the wing, he'll be away in the quiet wing of his massive Bearsden home or wherever it is he stays. The wife will have somebody in to deal with the kid, probably. Easy to pay for all that kind of stuff. He would be an ultimate professional. I think it was more about the defence changing in front of him. A defence that's already changing with Suter being out the picture, and how it affects a goalkeeper when his centre half start getting changed about. And then during the game itself the other night, not only do we lose Balogun after 20 minutes, we bring on Proper, who's unsure against St Mirren, but we then switch the positions of the centre halves as well, so Sterling goes to a different side. That just makes the goalkeeper really, and I think as a vice captain, it makes him worried for his defence. But I think as vice captain, he's obviously really keen to show leadership qualities. Jack Butland, he's coming out trying to take control of the situation, gets it all wrong for the penalty, and he's also, and I think Hefty was kind of a bit out of sorts for that goal as well. So Jack Butland can see it all happening, and he's good out there trying to effect a remedy, and it's gone terribly wrong. And that's why you get him flapping under the ball at corners in the second half as well, because he's not settled. His centre halves aren't settled, and that unsettles most goalkeepers. So I'm not blaming him for that. I'm expecting him to start tomorrow. It's going to have to be Tav at full back, whether you like that or not, and I do like it. I trust that. He's got an amazing record against Motherwell. I was reading that today. Tav has got 205 goals and 2,500 assists against Motherwell during his Rangers career. So we need to get Tav out there as the captain. I think it's going to be Proper and Sterling. I would stick with Hefty. Obviously, Yilmaz, talk of him going, no, we won't do the transfer stuff just now. We're coming to the transfer window, but I don't think we'll be heavily involved in it, and also we have to concentrate tomorrow. It doesn't affect tomorrow's game. It doesn't affect Fir Park, and we need to win this one. So we'll get John Leafeco back from Exeter or Ben Davis back from from Birmingham City or something like that. We'll worry about that after this game, but we need to get a proper performance tomorrow. And I would have Raskin playing with Diamandi and what we got. It's got to be Igaman in his kind of nominal up front position and Danilo starting in his nominal number 10 position, slowly turning into a goal machine. I'm going to have to go with Czerny again. I feel Czerny needs a rest. He must need a rest, but he's becoming a bit of a goal machine as well, so we need him on the park. And on that left-hand side, I don't know, I would actually stick with Hadji. I think if we've got Raskin in there, everything can change. I think he's been doing well, Hadji, but it means Bajrami gets left out. Maybe we can bring him back in for the Celtic game. He certainly he did well against them at Hampden. But Bajrami was really disappointing the other night. But that's a team I would go with anyway. And the main thing is we have to get out there, get ripped in, and see this as a game that we need to win every bit as much as we need to beat Celtic. And we just need to get that kind of bloodlust back where we're concentrating on the game at hand. I think we have gone a bit too much with the project, too much with the planning ahead during this Christmas period. And the players didn't. The manager's probably explaining to them why Raskin's been dropped, and we need to. He's probably mentioned the other two games, and that's been enough to mess with our heads. Or the players can't cope with just now. So get fully focused on the game at hand, and just take that into get the muscle memory going. Get a victory against Motherwell. Be dominant against Motherwell. Have a good away performance against a pain in the arse away opponent, and get ourselves in that respect set up for Thursday. Yeah, that's more than enough for me, Trips. This is ridiculously long, but I will come back and hopefully one of these I'll get you less than an hour. I think the more tired I get, I'll just do a quick preview pods for the Motherwell game because it's Christmas time and there's a lot of festivities going on and it's a reduced holiday service. But what happens is if I don't think about it as much as I usually would because I'm doing all that stuff, well then it ends up it takes me longer to get to the point that I'm trying to make. I feel as if, in summing up, so far, I would say this season has been like I was doing. Fell in love with a girl. The White Stripes song, I was mentioning that in one of my recent pods. And you get that kind of first verse, and there's a bit at the start of the second verse or the chorus, whatever it is. It's like a 2-second long song. It's phenomenal. And he just says, red hair with a curl. And it's brilliant because it's all been what she's saying to him, what this woman that he's upset with, this girl that he's fell in love with and all that, what she's saying to him, and then he just goes bang, red hair with a curl. That's the only description you get, physical description, and you can just picture whoever you want, whatever you want to picture based on that. But it's the kind of memory that somebody who has that kind of memory of being with a girl would have. Just boom, you focus in on that kind of thing. Red hair with a curl, but the way it's said, it just stands out a mile. It's a phenomenal, scintillating little line in its placement in the song. It's almost like it's already an overwhelmingly fast kind of first verse or chorus, but there's a briefest little pause, and it's kind of relentlessly rocking, gorgeous. This is one of these little lyrical moments. It's a kind of it's breathtaking, but also the taking of a breath. It's a celebration and a continuation of the kind of juggernaut pace, the whole piece, the whole song. It's this little moment isn't itself. It's kind of coruscating song, but it's a frighteningly brief little moment, and it just stops everything and just focuses you in and go, yeah, everything's possible. This is different level. It's like it's not an ad lib, because it's part of the song, but it's the way it's said. The music kind of dies down for a split second, and it's like a beauty spot. A beauty spot is actually technically a thing of ugliness meant to emphasise the beauty of the whole. I think that little moment of it's just brief, almost like a pause, but just emphasises how blisteringly fast the whole song is, blows you away, and it's a bit like You'll see if you go into YouTube, it's the live performance that always comes up of Fugazi doing a Waiting Room. It's not on the single. And is it Guy Picciotto the fella who, the vocalist, doesn't play an instrument in this performance anyway. He just kind of does vocals, kind of second in command, if you like, of the room. He's doing the kind of, call and response thing. He's doing little bits in the background, obviously throughout the whole song. What's it? Don't want to get up. No, don't want to get. He's like, don't want to get up. But there's a bit that's not on the actual single, not on the official recording. He just goes, what was it? Oh hey now, hey hey, oh hey now, hey hey, and it's gorgeous. It's brilliant. It's my favourite bit of that whole live performance. They're on stage. I think it's 1988 or something like that. Or no, it'll be later than that, because I think the song came out in 1988. But is it in Washington? And they're all up on the stage and all that. It's the kind of the straight edgers, the nascent straight edgers are all up there listening to this song. And it's those little moments, those little ad libs. You'll hear like soul songs, R&B. There's little moments that kind of, Want Bumbaloo, but I Want Bamboo is probably the most probably the most famous one. Well, that becomes more of a lyric. But I feel as if what we're doing just now is just doing those little ad libs, those little pauses, those little moments in phenomenal songs and phenomenal records. But we just need to provide the rest of the record. We need to get the rest of the track on board. We're getting a red hair with a curl. I remember the game against Spurs or something like that. You'll see it's scintillating. This is phenomenal. The possibilities are endless. It's gorgeous. It's exciting. It's bloody sexy. And then, hey, nah, hey. That's, I don't know, the League Cup final against, just coming back in the last minute of that game, equalising, bringing it back to 2 each and then 3 each. It's that kind of stuff we're doing under Clement. The genius is there. The brilliance is there. There is so many signs of it that are totally believable. We just need to get on with the business of providing the rest of the track, and it was definitely missing. The lyrics were missing the other night at Paisley, and we've got to get that back tomorrow. We've got to get the other verses, the other choruses in there. We've got to get that back at Motherwell, and then we can all have a right good sing song, hopefully on the 2nd. I'll talk to you after the game tomorrow, troops.